Beautiful, beautiful morning to you on the bumper breakfast. It's an exciting Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Like I usually say, thank God it's Friday. It's an exciting day. I tell you, I'm excited double because I get to see Dr. Precious wearing my color for the first time in ages. It's not been dressing like me, but today he decided to match me a little bit. So makes me excited extra, makes me stupefied about. Good morning, Precious. How are
Good
you
morning.
today?
I'm fantastic. Thanks
Did I
for
actually
having
tell
me.
you I missed you?
Oh, I missed you too. And it's your season, you know. I feel, do you know the way, I don't know if this happened to you when you were young, when they are making jollof rice and chicken in the
Hey,
kitchen, how you feel in your heart.
the elation that
That's how I
comes
feel
with
right
it.
now.
That's how you feel,
I'm
right?
telling you,
Aw.
happy birthday in advance to
In
you.
advance. It's just about
But we're
24 hours to
celebrating you
go.
from today. I think we should even do 3 days fasting for you.
But it's really about 3 days fasting.
No, I mean 3 days celebration, not remove the fasting, because I
Okay,
want
so
to eat.
we'll start from today. Then we'll do tomorrow. Then we'll do Sunday.
Yeah, I
That's
think that would be
amazing.
good.
That's amazing. So I started counting the things that I'm grateful for from yesterday, and I look back and I said I'm grateful for great friends. So I said I was going to tell you today that I'm grateful for great friends. So it's bumper breakfast, and I really need to say thank you. I remembered my birthday yesterday, so I looked at all the pictures and I was like, oh, I wanted to catapult my birthday to Friday.
I'm telling you, to have been a bomb.
So it wouldn't be a Saturday. But you know, we had to celebrate your birthday in advance as well.
Sure.
No, we had to celebrate your birthday on the day.
On the day I came,
On the day,
Yeah.
because it was Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
It wasn't Friday this time around.
And then I came. Did I come back again on Friday? No, I didn't.
You went playing with me, brother Shaggy. You left me alone.
Okay, don't worry, we'll make up for that.
So this time around, we're going to be doing a lot of, a lot of
You
fun.
deserve it. See,
A lot of fun
of a
things.
truth. Good morning to our beloved viewers. Of a truth, you have been an amazing inspiration. I say it everywhere I go. And the reason
that
I
is
say
scope.
it, no, it's not scope.
It's cool.
See, let me tell you something. It's not good for one to be in his comfort zone.
Yeah.
You take me out of my comfort zone. The things we do when it comes to work, I don't think I've ever done it for anyone. Even the brand I represent, they can't put me under pressure. You see what happened yesterday? Like, I'm so much under pressure to develop something. I woke up in the night, kept brainstorming till the iPad dropped. You know what that
I
means?
got broken.
So
Don't worry.
It-
I know where you can fix your iPad. Just go to Slot. I'm advertising for them this morning. Go to Slot. They used to fix mine for me every time until it got soaked in water. I think it cost about less than 20,000. The problem with the iPad, let me just give it to you straight up. You've never fixed it before, right?
at all.
So the problem with it is every time they open your iPad to fix the screen, it's just a screen, right? So
It's
you're
just
lucky.
the first one.
So you're lucky. Mine was my battery.
Oh.
So you buy screen and battery every time you want to fix. Because they have to open, the iPad opens through the screen. Every Apple phone opens through the screen, not the back. That's why they're always sleek.
I never knew.
So try your phone. Let's knock your iPhone off.
It won't even break.
Really?
Yes, you know, it's glass front and back. So I had to concretize it.
You have to concretize it.
I'm telling you.
Like front and back.
Yeah, like we put in the machine.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like
So it's
concretize.
secured.
It's secured. Can I have it as a birthday gift?
And you know why I had to do that? The first week I got
It
it.
fell.
It fell. You
Can
know,
we?
right?
I know. Can
Yeah,
I have
take-
it as a birthday gift?
Take. It's all yours.
Oh, thank you. You would
Take it.
You will take it back after the show.
So
now.
when you know that will happen, it's like a 10-year-old boy asking the father, "Can I be governor?" The father will say, "Go ahead."
Okay, so it's exciting to be here this morning with Dr. Precious, and we usually like to do this bit of fun and laughing before we go straight on the bumper breakfast, especially looking at the stories that made the front page of the papers. Mr. Kifatuke will be joining us quite soon so that we can delve into the stories. But, without looking at the stories, I listened to the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. Yesterday was in the news. They said he's been battling diabetes for as far as 30 years back.
True.
And that he's not dead, he's surviving. The man gave 2 points. Eat well, eat healthy.
True.
As the secret to, because let's give it to Baba Yabo. The man is looking like he's aging gracefully. You agree with me, right? I
totally agree with you. And his lifestyle changed. For those who don't know, he's a pastor right now. Obviously, he has stayed away from alcohol. Obviously, his lifestyle has impacted on his new health scheme. And when I watched him yesterday, I was just thrilled. I told myself, these are the kind of people you want to be like when you start growing old, because
older.
He has showed that you can actually keep growing old and keep looking young and relevant.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to keep aging and still be relevant. It's another thing to just be there.
It also brings me back to one particular matter, again, that caught my attention. The fact that President Muhammadu Buhari did say that he wouldn't leave 2023 a failure.
I saw that also. That's a very good statement from a president. A very good statement.
Like, I wouldn't leave.
Let me tell you
as
something.
president, a failure.
When I first read the first phrase, I won't leave 2023. I was like, what is he saying? Then I saw the end. So that kind of statement can prick you. Like, it can get you to be like, what did he just say? And then,
did he just say
then
don't
you see
leave
the end. That's a very good statement from a president. I'm telling you the truth.
And it brings to mind some of the things that will likely connote in being referred to as a failure. What are those things? From a young person's perspective, of course, Mr. Fasune gets to tell us why, the other part. But as a young person, what will make you feel like the president is a failure if he leaves in 2023? What are the issues that are likely to make an average young Nigerian tagging a failure? So let's give him those pointers, so that since he's determined not to be one.
Yes. A good psychologist will tell you, by mere virtue of reading that statement, that the president knows that all is not well. He knows psychologically that all is not well. So if they've been deceiving him before, we can have a glimpse that he is aware
now that
all
he's been
is
deceived.
not well.
Okay.
Yes. Now let me give you something.
Okay, so that means, first pointer, Nigerians should stop saying that the president is not aware.
Yes, he's aware.
Okay.
He's hears, and he's hearing. He knows that all is not well. Number two, another thing we need to look at is the dollar to the naira. Everybody, even a blind man can see it. A deaf man can hear it. It's glaring. No matter who you are, you will know. So you know that the economy is not really doing well. And that brings me to what we need to talk about today on Hard Conversations. You see, the poorest countries in the world, 20 of the poorest countries in the world, 16 are from Africa.
You see, one of the things that I want to really look at when it comes, I've been talking about Africa this week, and every time I look at one issue, it all goes back to Africa. So when we talk about the pandemic, we say Africa. When we talk about terrorism, we say Africa. When we talk about backwardness, Africa. When we talk about tenacity in religion, actually we still talk about Africa. And I did all of that this week. When we talk about poorest health infrastructure, Africa. So I'm wondering how a country like India that has over 1.5 billion people can be the go-to place for health. When the entire population in Africa is not more than 4 billion. What are we talking about? I mean, the whole of Africa cannot boast of 3 hospitals that can deal with issues that take people to
kidney transplants, heart.
Patricia's mother, Patricia, our friend,
Yeah.
the mother was here with us on Bumper Breakfast on Wednesday edition, and she was talking about appendicitis cancer. And she was in India to deal with that. Come on! And she was talking about spending over 30 million naira in India. Yet, that cancer was not dealt with in India. It was dealt with like that. I mean, they did the surgery, 14-hour surgery, and she went into a coma. They couldn't complete the surgery. So it wasn't as if they did the job. They now said they wanted to go over a process again, which means another 30 million. You get the idea? So before you look at it and we all run to India, I'm just asking the question. Can half of Africa, can West Africa boast of one hospital that is...
You know, the government could have boasted, but COVID exposed them. You know, when there is a
They
pandemic...
couldn't have even boasted because all of them were going abroad for treatment.
When there is a pandemic, you ask yourself the question, what has the budget been doing? So every time you see budgets for this year, you see the budget for that year, you see the budget for the other year, and then you wonder, there was an allocation for this, there was an allocation for that. What was that used for? Was it disbursed? Was it shared? Was it utilized? It
was used to pay salaries. But anyway, we have Mr. Akifatuke this morning on the bumper breakfast, and I'd like to bring him into the conversation. We're talking Africa. Mr. Akifatuke, good morning. Good to have you. I love your blue cap.
Good morning to Miss.
Because he's matching us with blue. I think there's a blue thing in the air.
Oh, well.
Blue cap, blue blouse, blue jacket.
That means there's hope if you say the truth and embrace the truth, as they should be the normal. But if you continue to deceive one another, talk, and nothing is going to be done in there. Got in when I had my brother who posed the question from the what is it that the youths are saying that will now say, Mr. President has not done well.
I was going to look at the adults' perspective, and I think that's your forte.
Okay, well, the
I'm not
adults,
even done on the youths. I just started.
the adults will be people in their 80s.
No,
90s. Wait, just hang on. People in their 80s. Okay, the elders will be people in their 80s.
Okay.
They are not senile. They knew how it was, and today they are in a way of speaking, on a departure lounge. They are weeping. They are weeping. They don't have to die before they know that all is not well. And then, of course, you have the mid-cadre, people who will be able to look at Nero straight in the face and say, you cannot continue to fiddle while your Rome or Nigeria burns. We have SDG goals. SDG goals, there are 17 of them. Nigeria is not in any way where you could even say you are having a green light, yellow light, yellow before green. We are in danger zone. We are not just going down the ranking in terms of the poverty capital, in terms of governance. I'm not even talking about governing Nigeria. The local government elections, we are not capable of putting democracy the way democracy should be practiced on. You talked about health, and you now asking a question that why can't, in Africa, in Nigeria specifically, why can't we have a standard hospital? We had standard hospital. Nigeria was a go-to place at University College Hospital, Ibadan.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia brought their people in here to come learn from Nigeria. Are you going to be looking at the economics? Where Malaysia and Singapore used Nigeria as a yardstick of measurement around about independence. So what has happened? What has happened simply is the fact that we have enthroned corruption by electing corruptive and corrupted leaders. We have at the National Assembly people that can be accosted at the airports by EFCC for stealing trillions, and they are the ones making, some of them, not all of them, so, some of them are the ones making laws for us. We open our eyes, we elected them. You can go and say that, did we really elect them? If our elections don't count, naturally we don't have a choice. It's just been reported by the Auditor General that 1.5 trillion unexplained expenditure is on, and we are all looking at it, and you sit here and you tell me that I should give a verdict. In fact, it is a total failure. You don't go to write exam, keep on failing, then asking for additional time and what have you. You know you are deceiving yourself,
Sure.
and that is the truth. You are deceiving others. I also know that when you have power, power so blinds you. You think you are invincible. You don't even put your ears to the ground, and then you begin to do a lot of propaganda. Propaganda went on left, right, center, here and there, including supporting what should not be supported. You saw what's happening in Afghanistan. And if anybody says that what is happening in Afghanistan cannot happen and cannot be replicated in other areas, especially many of the countries in Africa, without missing words, including my beloved country, Nigeria, you ain't saying anything. Having said that, is Africa a lot of close of votes? Rwanda is a flag that we are looking at. In 1994, the Rwanda situation was worse than what we are having in here. But they said, no, never again. Let's begin to now then rebuild our nation. All of them got together and they started the rebuilding. So if it could happen in Rwanda that ordinarily, yes, well, they are not as big as Nigeria, but which part of the states of Nigeria that you can compare that you can say, yes, we really have semblance of governance. My verdict, we have failed. We do not have capacity. There are capacities. They are voting with their legs out there because of conditions here. We don't have the character. We do not have the understanding and the discipline to practice what we have gone to copy that we call democracy. In some 2 years' time, we are all going to go to the polls, sink a lot of money, kill a lot of people, bloodshed here everywhere, yet the democracy will not deliver for us the dividends of democracy. And then
dividend that we're looking for.
And then young people like my brother here will now then continue to now then ask the question, where do we go from here? Yeah. If at the end of the day, they are so inured, they don't even feel anything, and what they are going to be voting for is BB Niger and all that. I don't have any problems if that's what they want to, but if it's going to continue to bring food on majority of table, not just a few people, if you understand what I mean, and then you have people coming out with first class, people who are very creative, they abound in different areas. These people are not being supported in any way. If you plan to fail, you have already failed to. If you fail to plan, you already planned to fail. You already planned to fail. So that is the situation.
The interesting part about this conversation is the fact that even though I'm not looking fully into the papers this morning, I've read through some of those stories, and rather than breaking my heart, let me just highlight a few of them. In 2021, we're approving grazing sites in 25 states across the Federation. And, when I think there was a country this week, there was a country across the other side of the world where a farmer was, a shepherd was caught by, I think it was by the cold or something, himself and his sheep, and he died. And he was found dead. That simply tells me he was outside grazing within his territory with his sheep. I don't know anywhere else in the world where we graze cows. I mean, cows are meant to graze within your ranch, and then you bring your grass and all that to them. You bring the food to them to eat within your ranch. But when we approve grazing, 368 grazing sites in 25 states across the Federation, is it a nomenclature thing? Are we resuscitating the grazing routes, or are we creating ranches in terms of grazing sites? Is it an African thing?
Yeah, let's put it in perspective. What Mr. President has endorsed was that committee report that the grazing routes, let's look at them with a view to, I don't know, maybe resuscitating them in 25 states. Do we have grazing routes in other countries? Yeah, perhaps we have. We have grazing routes in some other countries. albeit not in the way that we perceptibly will be looking at it.
Okay.
One, let me tell you that this government has gone far down in deficits in respect to people trusting.
Sure.
And even if you have a good reason why you want to do what you want to do, nobody trusts you. People see Ruga being resuscitated.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, Mr. President that is looking at going back in here.
Okay.
Is this not otious? In other words, is this not, gone past the 1999 Constitution was amended?
Okay.
The grazing aspects of giving land in the Land Use Act rests squarely on state governors. And state governors in the South have said, no, we are not going to do anything to do with grazing. What we need to do is to do ranching. Third, Mr. President, who is leading us, according to what I hear, has a ranch.
Yes.
So if he has a ranch, why is he not encouraging people who are interested in this to go have ranches? Why has he not listened to a fellow Fulani man in Kano State, Ganduje, who said, I have so much land for us to now then
have ranches anywhere in the world. You want to have ranches,
Mr.
come
President
to my state.
thinking of that agenda that people perceive that a particular ethnic stock, with due regards, I have Fulanis who are lettered and who are educated, we went to school together, they have respect for me, I have respect for many of them. Is it that you now then say you are going to go as far as Futajalon to go bring in people and bring in grazing routes? The grazing routes that we are talking about are now states that have been created. Are you now going to wipe off all those states and the structures in those states? Is the reason why I keep on saying, if you do not put on critical thinking, where the whole world is going artificial intelligence, and this is what we are looking at, is this not integration that is accelerating backwards? We must tell ourselves the truth. We have people with ideas. Unfortunately, those people are not in commanding heights. We have people who should not be in our first 11 at all levels, from local government to state governments to the federal. Unfortunately, these are people that you vote amount of money to a state house clinic. Drugs are not bought, nobody is brought to book, and at the drop of a hat, we go on medical tourism abroad, go to India. India, at one point in time, please let's go back to history, they were like us.
Yes.
They merely just said, no, it's not going to happen again. Do we have a situation in Nigeria we say, no, this is not going to happen again? Rather, it keeps on happening, and then the people that are doing the wrong things now come back with our captured girls with babies, and they say they are now surrendering, and we are now considering whether we should give them kekena pep and all that, when the people that have been traumatized, dehumanized. In other words, I'm saying we have no clue of an idea how to rule Nigeria. We are not measuring, and if you do not measure, you cannot manage. We are not measuring. We are not transparent. We are not sincere. We keep on deceiving one another. Situations where we all know that the king is naked, and all of us troop to a place in Mina and continue to now then say, oh, the king is so beautiful and all that. We keep on multiplying lies upon lies, and if you put lie upon a faulty foundation, as in the constitution that we are running, it will come crashing down. It will not get anywhere. We need to restructure our mind. We need to restructure the polity. We need to know who we are as a people, and we need to begin to now put the discipline to actually manage. So character is down, capacity is down, competence is down, at least those who are running us, and then the consciousness for the fact that you want to be compassionate is gone down the drain. Let me just put it in there. Whoever is not happy, I know, like I always said here, and I'll say, I pray I'm wrong. There are people in this country who are the helm of affairs that are praying that the kind of earthquake that happened in Haiti should happen in different parts of Nigeria. So I will just take these people off because we have not planned for them. We do not have plan for them, and we are multiplying at 3%. Population control, Obasanjo keeps on saying it all the time, that we need to control. But here we are. God will help us.
The interesting part about all of this is also the fact that if you take a look at some of the stories, let's talk about corruption in Africa. They say there's corruption everywhere in the world, and of course there is a corruption index.
True.
But when you arrest an ex-governor and then his son, who is the Speaker of the House of Assembly in the state currently, hands himself over, what does that say to you, Dr. Precious? Governor Theodore Hodge, Senator Theodore Hodge, was arrested by the EFCC yesterday. His son turned himself in. The EFCC, his son is the current Speaker of the House of Assembly in Abia State. He turned himself in. And then they're also investigating the other son for 500 million naira security vote that was given for the number of 8 years.
Million or billion?
No, 500 million every year for 8 years. That comes to 4 billion naira.
Okay.
That comes to 4 billion naira security vote, plus another, I think 1 point something billion or 2 point something billion, which was supposed to be for this ecological fund. That's also another amount of money that is being investigated for. It was picked up as it was dropping at the Abuja airport yesterday by the EFCC, and the moment it was picked, the son handed himself over.
Tomisi, when we come back to look at these things, you ask yourself a simple question: who has done this to us? Why are we so impoverished?
I think I should say it in Yoruba. I think you see this conversation is good in Yoruba.
I'm telling you, there's a level to which you look at what people embezzle, and you ask yourself, just 1%.
They have not proven that he embezzled it.
No, allegedly. Okay.
Yeah. That people are investigated for embezzling.
Yes. So it's an alleged claim. Now, when you hear what people embezzle allegedly, you ask yourself, 1%. I don't think you can finish 1% in your lifetime. So what are you doing? Where's your conscience? Because let's be honest, the system is no more corrupt. The system is more than corrupt. In fact, the system can be defined as corruption. Someone once said the system is corrupt, and then later came up and said, I'm sorry, the system is not corrupt. The system is corrupt. Another word for the system is corruption. And it has become so disheartening. And we need to start getting into a level where we get people who are willing to speak the truth, getting the right people. I asked myself a simple question, Tomisi, which would reiterate what you have just said. Why is it that when we have people coming to contest for presidential elections, and over we have qualified candidates, you see Nigerians focus on the two most popular. We start bringing out the two most popular. We ignore the others. And there are some heavily competent people or persons amongst the other ones that could have helped us to take our country from where it is to where it should be. But we focus on the famous ones. We're looking at the two giant parties, APC or PDP. I think that's another ideology of corruption. We need to alleviate or liberate ourselves from that mental slavery which has impoverished us, because it's a foundational thing. So everyone thinks the quickest way to get out of poverty is by stealing as much as they can when their turn comes. But we need to change it.
So that's one level of it, stealing the resources of the state corruptively, and thereby sowing the wind and reaping the whirlwind. And before you talk about Oji and his son, please don't let us forget, we also had somebody who stole the sweat and the labor of many of our aged people that worked, took their pension. We had Maina and his son, being charged. He ran away, jumped bail, and under the very nose of this present regime, this guy came back on a blaze of glory, supported by by the state, I dare say. And when people now then shouted, said whatever, and in fact his son made a point that, look, what are you talking about? I'll be able to buy my way in. So Oji and his son, who is also a legislator in the state house, maybe look at that president and say, yeah, we can buy our way out. And in any case, join them if you can join them, and then you'll be given the free. That is the perception that is in the marketplace. In other words, hard work, service is not going to be rewarded, but if you can corner, you can find a way to buy yourself. I remember that Aliyu, the senior cop in the police, that got up and in the National Assembly, it's recorded. And then he looked right, he looked left, and he said he could not understand that people that he has actually arrested for corruption are all sitting in the hollow chambers of National Assembly in the same Nigeria. So
and they were voted into the position.
Okay, you tell me now that release Ojikalu or the son or whatever it is. You and I'm talking about citizens. We still want to go and vote them in, like he says. Why is it that we elect? Look, I know you are going to winch your face, and you are going to grimace in a serious way if you see a man or a woman who says to you, I'm going to jump in front of a trailer. You are not the one jumping in front of the trailer. But the thoughts, your blood will go curdling.
Yes.
When you try your possible best to grab this guy, he decides to jump in front of a trailer. The second one now then came, I'm going to jump on the third mainland bridge. You cringe. The third one does the same. The fourth one does the same. Are you going to be waking up every morning to ask people to? Okay, if that is the destiny that you want to choose for yourself, psychologists cannot begin to now look at the root cause of such problem. Then go ahead. Now we have a situation exactly what I've described, where you and I, like you said,
Yes, sir.
we know that this is not the path. Maybe they slip 500 naira into our hand. Maybe they slip whatever it is to our hand, and we go back and go and vote them in. We have taken our benefit already. So for you now to not then be complaining that we don't have good governance, people are not, we don't have the knowledge, depending on people who, without doing anything, you can imagine sleeping on your bed.
Some people don't even go to this National Assembly.
Millions upon millions come to you, and then want those people to now then just.
Mr. Fatuke, some people don't even go to these places at all. You know that. They don't even go to work. We get to come to work every day. Some senators don't even have pay.
How many of them have you seen contribute?
And House of Assemblies, House of Representative members, some of them don't even appear.
And
even when they do, it's just the high and the
you cannot contribute if you don't have something. What do you want to give now?
Yes.
Which comes to
if you don't have something, you can't contribute as long as your money, your pocket is being lined. It's most unfortunate. It's most gory, and I dare say, it's a clear sign of a bankrupt and a failed state.
Mr. Fatuke, thank God for elders. One year Agbakiwa Loja Kori of Motutun, that's the way Yorubas will put it. This story broke out yesterday, and it is simply about the plan to install somebody called Idris Adono as the Sultan of Shua Harab of Edo State. And this is meant to be done on my birthday, tomorrow, Saturday. The state government endorsed, in a statement endorsed by the secretary today, state government, Osarodion Oge, condemned the planned coronation of Adano, describing the purported move as sacrilegious and a threat to peace and security in the state. The government has been inundated with complaints from indigents and residents of the state over the purported move to endorse, to coronate someone as a sultan within Edo State, which is to say that whether or not this event is held at the said location or any other, it will constitute a direct assault on traditions, customs, and culture of Edo people by individuals who clearly have sinister motives and are trying to abuse the well-known Edo hospitality by their acts of sacrilege. What makes this different from the many Obi and Eze that we have across Lagos. I mean, it's only in Lagos that we have. What is it now? You people want me to break the table?
Impunity reigns
It's
supreme.
your state now. I don't understand it. What is wrong with you? Why are you laughing?
Impunity reigns supreme, and an armed robber that comes to your house
Okay.
yesterday,
Very soon we'll have Oni in Kano.
and he got away with it. Comes the next day, comes third day, goes away with it. Comes the fourth day, caught, and then with Awuru get released. You are now then saying to me that armed robber needs to come at night. He will come during the daytime and say, please stand up.
I want to sit.
I am the bona fide owner of this house. What are you going to do? You are going to now say, no, you cannot do it, and stuff like that. It brings a gun. My grandmother told me a story when I was much younger. I used to see her sing that in Ibadan. That there was, I won't call it an emir, but the king of the Hausa area.
The Seriki.
Seriki, and then it was called Awulu. Maybe I mentioned this before. And everybody now trooped out and they started singing. Wọ́n fa Awulu jọba, Gàmbàrí onílà mẹ́fà. And it was boom. My point is that this is not happening for the first time. If you have a society that has lost all values of being able to think straight, this is what I've been talking about, Ruga. What I've been talking about, Fulani Scotch Art policy, saying that at all points in time they must come and occupy your land, drive you away. These are some of those agenda. Now, problem now is under the Akenzua thing. I find this a bit challenging and difficult that it can happen in Edo State. I also find it very challenging, like you rightly said. It's easy for me to sit here and be pointing one finger at Edo State. I mean, Yoruba land. I just sang about Awulu. Then things were okay. They had, their roles. They had their responsibilities. By the time you now begin to now then create the fact that what Danfodio said when he gave those flags to those people is, take this jihad, plant it, and begin to have sovereignty. I mean, Aule and Afonja, we know the story in Oyo stroke Ilorin and how Ilorin eventually got captured. Have we moved a pace in the right direction? Now I see situations where if this is usually these things don't happen. These things happen because of body language somewhere, and that body language now tells you that if you go ahead, you're going to have a lot of bloodshed. I am not sure. Let's watch and see. I'm not sure. The Edo culture and kingdom that I think I know will allow this to fester. And if it festers, be sure that more lives are going to be lost, more distrust will go on. And I don't know, I told you that people are looking for earthquakes.
I'm just wondering.
This is one of those quakes that will come that they just want to just say, just without these people. It's most unfortunate, I dare say. And even for you in Edo State, even for me in wherever you that is coming. You know what? Sometimes when an armed robber wants to invade your house, he might look at you and say, "You, let's go and bring your pot. I mean, I'm not going to harm you." But situations where they know it's going to be harmful, and they still go ahead and create the harm, tells me that there is a sinister agenda, not just to make all of us unhappy, but at least to break Nigeria into smithereens.
True.
And God will not allow that to happen. But we must all stand up to it.
Amongst the stories that we have on the front page of the papers today, of course, another thing that is peculiar to Africa as a continent is this issue of when one of our own does something across the world, we all come together to support and protect the person. But we went to court to stop the United States from extraditing Abba Kyari. And the court has rejected the application to stop his arrests and his extradition. Yet, we are running after Igbo.
Nnamdi Kanu.
We're not running after Nnamdi Kanu. But when, I don't get it. Mr. Fosika, there's a Yoruba proverb that says something about Komagbe saying Kulie. Like you'd rather go and, put it at the back of your neighbor's house rather than putting it in your own backyard.
Do not put odium that you know is an odium and you put it at your back and you start to do this. Rather, go put it in someone else's backyard.
It's very funny. We're quick to, victimize one of us. But when, I'm sure that if the special advisor, or is it a special advisor to the Ogun State governor, who is being arrested currently and is, what is it with you, Dr. Precious?
It's sad.
But if I'm sure that if he were to be extradited, I'm sure that we would have done the exact same thing.
Very true.
But this is a member of the police force. I mean, shouldn't Nigeria be jumping up and saying, you know what? Try him. Let's see if he's guilty, and let's present a country that is.
But don't think this is the decision. Nigerians want him to be tried, but these are just some selected few who think they have the capacity.
But those who must come to equity must come with clean hands.
Yes.
Isn't that supposed to be, especially when the president
sir.
is saying he doesn't want to leave 2023 a failure?
We are in Lagos, and if there is a strategy or a vision, that we want to get to Ibadan, it's easy to get on the expressway.
Yes, and just drive.
And just go towards north of Lagos. Is that not going to be?
Yes.
Of course, you could meet so many dangers
along the way.
Just back from a professional institute's assignment in Osogbo, I know what a lot of people face on that way. But somehow, you on the compass you are facing the right direction. But I'm going to have a challenge. If we all agree that we are going to go to Ibadan, face Ibadan, and I see you facing the Atlantic Ocean, I have a challenge. Of course, you cannot prove to me that when you get to the Atlantic Ocean, you've got to get a
jetty or ship that's going to land you.
First of all, take you to London, and from London, they will now take you to Kanu, and then from Kanu, and then come to Ibadan. You understand what I mean? Only God knows when
you will finally arrive.
You get to your destination. My point. Nigeria has decided on its own to play the Russian roulette. Put a gun to the head, believing that in all just one bullet will kill you. You know this thing about I have about 8 chances it will not be the bullet chamber. But have you wondered that if you take such a risk and you decide to put that bullet, it is that chamber that actually has a bullet that the chances you think will never happen
will,
and then you end up taking your life. We are in a nice situation whereby we all know a lot of these things that are happening. We know where it's going to land us, and like you said, because of limited thinking and horizon of people, they always forget that the will of justice is true. It grinds slowly.
True.
What said it. It grinds slowly. It eventually grinds well. It may not even be you. You may be alive, seeing your children and your children's children falling into ways that sometimes the tears will come out of your eyes. The strategy that makes you to face the Atlantic Ocean does not necessarily mean that you are foolish. You must have something at the back of your mind.
Maybe you want to drop along the way.
I want to tell you something. When we say yes, Nigerians and our policymakers believe that everybody will be thinking like Nigeria. It will not happen. It's the same Nigeria that will now go and put forward somebody a misfit to the United Nations to be judged, and then they look at him and say, please, this does not wash. All of us here, at least our rulers here, have passed that on.
True.
The reason why some people, and I agree with you, it will be some people.
Yes.
And I will tell you something also. I schooled in the north. This label that she's right, and I know where she's coming from. Oh, it is our own. We must all go to support. And I know in large majority, I know people in the north. I have friends in the north who say, no, this does not make sense. But they will not want that to happen, because if it happens, there are so many skeletons that are buried in the cupboard. Are you going to willingly say, because I tell you that to go to Ibadan, go north, when you know that when you go north, scatter.
True.
You would rather face the Atlantic Ocean and go and be swimming there. And people will not be saying, this, what's wrong with this guy? It's a strategy. They now know the fact that, do you know what the FBI, do you know what they know? Do you know that FBI, right from 1960, I mentioned this before, when we were going to construct the Tin Can Island and the Tin Can Port,
Yes.
how Nigerian state officials negotiated getting a court. I got to know this when I went to Germany, and they were talking about the fact that I said, why are you doing this and stuff like that? They opened a computer and said, look, yes, we are going to block names. It's supposed to have cost 100 naira, but your government and state people apparatus says you are going to take 15% of that.
Okay.
So give that 15% off. They will only give you your infrastructure worth the remainder, and they may not stand the test of time. That is the reality. So it's corruption, and the fact that, allegedly, Abba Kyari, unfortunately one of the best that we have, we should have, has already hinted that, look, if certain things happen to him,
He won't take it lightly.
he will take it very heavily.
Yes.
Until we have the political will to do the right thing, even if it is our Mr. President that is going to be involved in this, so be it.
And I think, like we say again, we're fighting corruption as a country. So those who must come to equity.
And corruption is fighting back.
Apparently it is. Corruption is fighting back. Somebody said to me on radio yesterday when I was talking about COVID-19. This person did say to me that, Tomisi, you're talking about COVID-19 and you're talking about the doctor strike or the health infrastructure being comatose. And I'd like to read that message and take a few comments from you before I let you go this morning. I'm trying so quickly to look for it. This woman said, a caller called and said, the problem that we have is that this government is the pandemic. That was exactly what the person said. I'm trying to look for that message on my. Said this government is okay. Tommy, good evening. The caller said this government is a pandemic. What do? We have COVID-19 vaccine for COVID-19. Cholera, we have treatment and all that.
What is the vaccine for
vaccine for this government? So this woman sent a message and said, Tommy, good evening, my sister. I clap for the caller. She practically sent claps, like 3, for the caller that said the government itself is a pandemic. Who will help us clear this disease now? So, goes back to the idea that the perception about this government is not good at all. And if the governor or if the president is now saying that he is not ready to leave office, a failure come 2023, it means the president is aware the Nigerians are not just groaning under the pains, but they are also crying and they're weeping blood, not tears.
Yes, they are weeping blood and not tears. Talk about the issues we have with electricity. Yes, there's an electricity problem, but if you stay in certain areas in Aso Rock, the light hardly blinks. You cannot feel, you are immune, so you cannot understand, and so you can continue to ride the big horse because you are insulated. You think you are next to God, until the Mobutu Sese Seko experience now comes upon you, or Mr. Taylor's Liberia thing come upon you. That's where you now then say, hey, wait a minute. Have you wondered why those who rule us only begin to get sense after they've left office, and then they now start to pontificate? They forget themselves. Why? Because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Are you aware? Is Nigeria aware that we have a vaccine production center, one of the best that you can think about in the world. If you go to Akoka by St. Finbar's,
Yes.
that was there. Ought to have been the research effort. Same government that you call pandemic. If there's another word, I'll look for another word.
That's the call, though. It's not me.
Okay, well.
That's the caller. It's the caller that called.
Thank you.
It's in the message.
Maybe I should clap for that caller. It's the truth. The Nigerian government is time bomb. Our rulers are time bombs, and they are pandemic. If that vaccine center has been closed, deliberately closed, if the Nigerian railway system that we are trying to resuscitate was deliberately closed because you wanted prependalism in a way and manner that a few people will continue to benefit from
the system.
From the system. If wobble and fumble, we had airways, the best, one of the best that you can get in the world, Nigerian Airways, and we deliberately ran them down by the same government. What do you call that? Is that not pandemic? Okay, well, maybe the Nigerian government is an earthquake, an earth tremor, that not only will take you alive and bury you, you will not even, there won't be traces at all.
Mr. Fatuke, leave our government alone. The president is doing something about all of this now. We are hopeful, and we have a lot of hope. I was hoping that you people would give me, all of the vibes.
All of the adjusters. One of the vibes.
But in the midst of all the adjusters, it's good to say the truth.
Not just say the truth. You know, I have American back training. In America, without necessarily disrespecting you, I'm your son. But I can come to you, mommy, you're doing the wrong thing. You doing the wrong thing. You say, why do you think I'm doing the wrong thing? This is what the law says we should do. This is what you are doing. And then you begin an explanation. Says it's not an excuse. We don't have such culture here. When our people
and
do
that is
wrong,
our problem. This is our culture. That's why we're looking at Africa.
When our people do wrong,
we celebrate them.
When we see a 15, 13-year-old being betrothed, and we say that is our culture, and not come out and tell ourselves the truth, that we are planting a seed that we are already seeing here in out of school children, which is now dovetailing back to the south, and we all rush to Abuja to go and be sharing
85-year-old man
to go and
then he dies, and then the girl has like 7
to go and be sharing money without critically thinking, how do I? You saw what happened to our sports lately. Sports. And we look for excuses, and then if it is our own, we have to kind of go find a support. And that's where I put credence to what you have said. It is tiwa, and what have you. I mean, some people will say, if it's my thief, you saw that
it's
in the
my
South.
Thief. I love my thief.
Leave my thief alone. It's our money that he's stealing. What kind of
Oh
people, what kind of belief is that? You already know that if you put a furniture maker in the cockpit of an airplane, you know very well that plane is going to crash, but you are now conditioned to believe that the plane is going to get to a promised land.
Which promised land?
So that is the situation.
I need to say thank you.
All is not lost. We can turn it around if we choose deliberately to do that, and we can do that collectively.
Let me just, take this break and say thank you to Mr. Fatuke for being here with us this morning. But you see, the next question that I'm about to ask, you get to call me and tell me exactly what you think about this. This is our Let's Gist segment on the Bumper Breakfast Friday edition. You have, let me give you the story. Now, this is the story. You loaned your friend 4 million naira. It was supposed to have it for just about 6 months. Your friend took 4 million naira, pocketed it, and rather than giving it back to you, he decided to do you a favor. You know what he did? He took the 4 million, he used it, and then he kept it. When you needed your money back and you were in critical need, your friend decided that he couldn't give you the 4 million. You pressurized him, and he said to you, if I can give you anything safe, I can only give you 1.5 million. Now, you accepted it grudgingly. And then you gave him your account number to send 1.5 million to you. Lo and behold, you woke up the next morning and you had about 50 missed calls from your friend. and you checked your account balance, you had about 15 million naira in your account, credited to your account by your friend. What will you do? Your friend is now begging you and sending you messages to say, send me 13.5 million naira back, since that is our agreement. The money is not yours. What will you do? 08064738133 is the number to call after this very quick, tiny 10 seconds break.